special edition of What's Up, Watchtower. As you will notice, I don't have my trusty mic on my arm, but instead I wanted to introduce you to someone who is one of the most special people in my life, and I am out visiting him in his hometown now. It's his hometown of Los Angeles, California, and this is Jason. So, hi Jason.
Hi Robin.
Say hi to everybody.
Hi everybody. I love Mike. I've known Mike for a long time too. I love Robin. She's one of my best friends, but hopefully I'll be a good fill-in for tonight.
Well, you will be an excellent fill-in because this is telling a part of my life that I've talked about in some of the videos about my decision to go back to school when I was in my mid-30s. And so Jason was one of the people that I met in that journey and really has done so much for my life and done so much to help me, you know, to heal from being raised in the cult that we were all raised in. And so I just wanted to have a little conversation with Jason and share some of the, you know, some of the journey that I went through and what Jason noticed about me. And so we're just gonna kind of talk here. All right?
All right.
All right.
The funny part about this is I asked her to prep me and she was like, we're just gonna talk. So I have no idea what we're about to really talk about.
Surprise!
Surprise!
Jason doesn't like surprises.
I like to be a little bit in control, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I trust Robin. She's got this. We're good.
So we just were counting the years, and we realized that we've had our 10-year friend anniversary this year. And so when we met, I was sort of in not a great headspace because, as many of you know, I had made the decision to not go back to the Kingdom Hall, that I realized that I didn't believe in the religion anymore. And so I lost my entire social network at that time. And I was trying to make friends with people I went to school with, but it was very challenging. And something that I've noticed on the ex-Jehovah's Witness recovery group on Facebook is people commenting on the same thing, that they're having a really hard time making friends. And because it's so ingrained in us that the people that aren't witnesses are in the world, and that they're all sort of bad, and that they're going to lead you down a bad path. And so we were raised to sort of be afraid of non-witnesses. And even when you leave it, that is so ingrained into your mind that you have to really start challenging those beliefs. And you know, one thing that I realized the longer I was out and the more people that I met and friends that I made, Jason being one of the predominant ones at the beginning, was that people aren't terrible, and that they're not going to just take advantage of you, and that they're not going to, you know, they're not all drug addicts and all these terrible things that we're led to believe. So when I met Jason, I was probably 3 to 6 months into my school career when I went back to school for fashion design. We both graduated with our bachelors in fashion design.
We did.
And so I just want to ask you, Jason, what was your impression of me as you started to get to know me and I told you about being raised as a Jehovah's Witness?
I was honestly shocked. And I hate to pass judgment the way that some other groups of people pass judgment on people, but I thought that you were much more of a cool together type of person.
Oh.
Actually, I've probably never told you that because you just seemed, you know, chic and, you know, like you had all your stuff together. I didn't peg you for a religious nut type of person. You can edit that if I'm not allowed to say that.
No,
but
you say it.
I didn't peg you as the religious type. Because usually, maybe everybody has their own judgment and bias on things. I don't think of those people as the type to be as cute and well dressed. But anyway, that's besides the point. I thought that you were really sweet, and when I met you, it was really clear to me that you were open to making new friends at school. Some people, even though everyone that was in our beginning classes, they were all new to the school. It seemed like since a lot of them lived in the area, like they may have already known people and not really been too interested in making any friends in the school, and they were just there to take their classes and leave. And I think it became pretty evident right away that before classes and after classes, we would, be the ones hanging out more and wanting to do other things. And hey, let's work on stuff together and let's go fabric shopping together. And
yeah, Jason and I really glommed onto each other during our time at school. But one of the questions that I sort of wanted to ask you, because one of the things that I've come to realize, and by the way, even though Jason is quite a bit younger than me, he is very worldly wise in the sense of having traveled extensively throughout his life and familiar with many cultures and many belief systems, more than just about anybody I had ever met. And so the thing though that I'm always curious about is how little people actually know about the beliefs and practices of Jehovah's Witnesses. And I think that it was kind of shocking to you when I started, telling you more about how they shun and how they discourage higher education.
I had no idea. No.
Yeah, and that's the thing that people don't know, and that's what I'm really trying to always get out there with anybody I tell about my life experience, because they don't realize what it's actually like and how much of a high control group it actually is.
When I first met you, I just thought, oh cool, she's starting fashion, I'm starting fashion, we're in school together, she's really nice, we have a lot of the same interests, and she has good taste too, so let's be friends.
Yeah.
When you started telling me about coming from a Jehovah's Witness background, the only thing I pictured was knocking on doors. The only thing I pictured.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're one of those people who keeps knocking on the doors and saying, do you want to know about God? And I just figured Jehovah's Witnesses were normal, nice people, but too into the churchianity stuff that I myself am really not into. Never have been, never will be. And I was like, as long as that's kept away from me, it's cool, we can be friends. But then you started confiding in me more and telling me a bunch of things that were really shocking about the Jehovah's Witness religion. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that there was this fear amongst people who were witnesses that if you stopped going to your church, you would start to get ostracized. If you left your church completely and decided it wasn't for you, that nobody would talk to you. That's heartbreaking. I mean, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Some of the things you told me from your past and your husband's past about the church getting involved with your personal life, getting involved with being able to go certain places, go on, trips or hanging out with certain kinds of people, or playing certain kind of extracurricular sports or things, was absolutely astounding to me. I had no idea.
Yeah, you had no idea how much control they try to exert in people's lives. So one of the things that's probably pretty evident, or maybe not, I don't know, Jason's gay. Yay! He was my first gay friend. So I want to talk a little bit about that.
Let's
because
talk about that.
Jason is so open, and that's the thing I really appreciate about him. Because being raised a witness, I didn't know any gay people, and then certainly never had a conversation with them about their life and what that culture is like. So I was like, Jason, do you mind if I ask you, will you be offended if I ask you a few questions?
And it was so funny when you said that. You were so unassuming and sweet, but seeming like you were worried if you would offend me. And it was pretty clear at that point that you didn't have any other gay friends or had talked to very many gay people before in your life. Because the things that you had asked were so basic and not offensive. And I was like, sure, let's chat. Let's talk about those things. I don't care.
Yeah, and so he was so open and honest and forthright and like made me feel comfortable asking questions. And the thing that I, realized is, we're just, all the information we are given is just completely wrong. And that, there's nothing different about you, that you're a normal human being with normal wants and desires for your life.
It's true.
And
I think so.
Yeah, certainly. And the thing about Jason is, as I got to know him, I really began to realize that, he was one of the kindest people that I had ever met.
Thank you.
Most empathetic, one of the most empathetic, compassionate people I had ever met. And that includes all the witnesses I ever knew. And so my eyes had already been opened. I realized it wasn't the truth, but all of my preconceptions and blinders about what people in the world were like just came crumbling down, and I realized that all of that was not true as well. So I thank you for being so wonderful and being you.
Thank you. I didn't realize that was even a thing. I didn't realize that. I know a lot of churches, have shunned gay people from being gay in the past, but I didn't know much about Jehovah's Witnesses. I didn't know specifically that was an issue for them. And then little by little, you told me how big of an issue it was, and it was shocking.
Yeah, it really is. And so there's no way to talk to a witness about your gay friend. There just really isn't, because they're like, oh my God, you're hanging out with a gay person, you're really far gone if you're hanging out with a gay person.
I don't get that.
Yeah. I'm like,
why?
He's just a person.
Yeah.
He's just a person.
I'm a normal person. Maybe not normal to some people, but that's besides the point. I'm as abnormal as anybody else is abnormal for their own quirks and weird things. I'm pretty well educated, and I'm a fairly nice person. Maybe not to everybody, but I try to be to most people. And I have normal wants and needs, and a normal good job, and live a nice lifestyle, and care about people, care about my family and my friends, and I don't understand the disconnect.
Yeah, and that, your ethics and how you see the world and treat people, I was really impressed with that, because being raised a witness, these people are supposed to be your brothers and sisters, and you're supposed to be able to trust them and, always give them the benefit of the doubt that they're, going to do the right thing towards you. And very rarely did it seem like that would actually pan out. In my experience, I was let down quite a bit by the people who were my brothers and sisters. So getting to know Jason, I had a lot of trust issues with friends, because I'd been burned so many times by witnesses. So when we started developing our friendship, there was kind of a part of me that was expecting, when's the other shoe gonna drop? When are you going to show me your true colors? When are you going to betray me in a way?
Well, it's been a decade. Hopefully you don't feel that way anymore.
Definitely not. But I got to the point where it's, you restored my faith.
Wow.
In people.
Thank you.
You restored my faith that there are good people, and that I could have good friends that I could trust. and that I wasn't always going to be taken advantage of by people. Because I felt like I was taken advantage of quite a bit.
Well, obviously, there's something, I don't want to speak out of turn with this, but there's something going on with the witness community to breed those types of feelings and to breed people not being actually trustworthy with each other, and with them also telling people, if people are not a witness, you can't trust them, they're not trustworthy, you can't associate with these people. You've told me a whole bunch of times about how in your previous life as a witness you would under no circumstances be allowed to associate with me, and I don't understand why a group would not let their followers, their people, associate with other people as long as they're good people, as long as they are nice people, as long as they're caring people, as long as they look out for you and you for them, and build friendships, branch out. I don't get it.
Well, it is hard to understand if you haven't been raised in it, but it's just like when a conversation with my father probably 5 or 6 years ago, where he was still questioning me about why I didn't believe, what was my issue with the beliefs, and in that conversation I said, that I still feel like I'm a good person, like I'm still a good person, and he said, well, you're good according to worldly standards, which worldly is a slur against non-witnesses. So they think that if you don't believe in what they believe and hold the same beliefs, that this is the one true religion, then you are on the outside, and that you are not a good person. You're only good according to what the world's standards are, and the world's standards are very low.
But what makes you not a good person? If you have morals, and if you're kind, and if you're thoughtful and generous to those around you, and have a big heart and honest, what could there possibly be other than that that's a criteria for being a good person or not being a good person?
The only thing that matters to them is if you believe and are one of them. Nothing else matters.
But how is that a criteria for if someone is a good person or not? There's a missing link here. That doesn't make sense.
Well, that's cognitive dissonance. They don't think that anybody can be a good person if they're not. It's just like there's so many other factions, small cults that are kind of similar to that, like the church, I forget what they're called, but that church, the family that they picket funerals.
Westboro Baptist Church.
They have the same thinking, that if you don't believe exactly what we believe, then you're not good. No matter how good you really are, that if bad things happen, the witnesses don't really believe this, but they believe that if bad things happen to you, that's righteous. That's God's doing, judging or allowing that to happen to you. So it's kind of similar in a lot of ways. The way that they see the world is very similar to the way the witnesses see the world. But so either way, one of the things that became very apparent to me, that when I would talk to my family about my new friend Jason.
Oh yeah, I remember these conversations. They always went great.
They were very uncomfortable with any time I mentioned you, anytime I talked about you, and he and I were pretty much like spending all of our free time together, and school time together. So we were together all the time. So of course I'm going to talk about my friend Jason. Yeah. And that's a part of my life. But they really made me feel like those conversations were not welcome.
They, in the couple of instances where I met them, made me feel the same way. So I get that.
So let's just talk about that.
Okay.
Let's just talk. Because this is typical of Jehovah's Witness behavior. And I'm not trying to shame my parents or my family. But I think it will be interesting to some of you because, you guys always tell me that you see yourself through me and Mike and can relate to what we say. And so, just want to talk about this a little bit.
For sure.
So what was when you met my family, which was only on a couple of occasions, what was your impression?
When I first met them, they seemed like they were nice, but that they were definitely off-put by me. You could tell that they were very uncomfortable, which I don't blame them for it if they're raised in an environment, and their mindset is that there's something wrong with gay people and you can't be near them or associate with them. But it was very clear to me that when I came in and said hello and introduced myself, that they said hello and were pretty cold about it, especially your dad, to be honest. And then when I tried to make conversation, it was very clear that they didn't want to have any conversation, and they were like, yes, nice to meet you, moving along now. And you could tell that there was a lot of judgment and a lot of them wanting to get to the other side of the room. One of the
They
times,
didn't want to sit and talk with you and have any conversation.
Not too much.
No.
Not too much. I mean, and I would have only talked to them about things that we had in common, which is basically anything having to do with you and what they know about us from going to college together and all the fashion stuff that we went through, because I figured since they heard a lot of stories from you that they could relate to it and it would be interesting, and we didn't really get that far. I met them for one of your birthday parties, and I met them...
Not a birthday party.
Oh no, well, some sort of thing. There was something at your house where...
well, that was my graduation.
Oh yeah,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that, but
we'll
you met them before that,
I did,
too.
I did.
I don't remember what.
I did.
When you met them.
I know I met them twice, maybe 3 times, but each time it was very clear that they did not want to talk to me, and it was very clear that they were not happy that I was around, and they were actually kind of off-putting. They made me feel a little uncomfortable. I'm not going to say that they were not nice. They weren't not nice in any way, but they were definitely very cold, and you could feel a wall going up.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's so interesting because I didn't really pick up on that when they were around. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but the one instance that, the last time that you would have been around them was my graduation party from college.
Oh God.
Yeah, so we both graduated on the same day, and Jason lovingly helped Mike plan a graduation party for me. Now, he could have had his own graduation party. He could have put all of his effort and energies into planning his own, but out of love for me, you wanted to celebrate me.
Yeah.
And, that just made me feel so special.
Yeah.
Because being raised a witness, you never had a birthday party, you never had holidays, and you were never made to feel special, ever. You're just like everybody else, and they don't celebrate people. So you knew this, and I think that was probably part of your motivation to wanting to help Mike. So you did so much. You did so much.
I like to help people that I care about, and it's important to celebrate people's accomplishments, I feel. And you have an awesome husband, and when you were graduating, he wanted to put something together for you. I like to think of myself as somebody who's pretty good at helping with putting those things together, and more than a typical person helping. I have great ideas, and I'm good at picking things out, and have good taste, as does Mike. So we made a great team, and I think, hopefully you agree, I think we put together a pretty awesome party.
It was very beautiful and well done.
There were a lot of compliments on it.
Yes, there were.
And you looked thrilled.
Yes, it was wonderful. And so at my graduation party, of course, I'm going to invite my parents to be there, and because this was before we disassociated ourselves, and so they were there. And when I got there after everybody else got there, so when I arrived, I noticed my father sitting sort of in the corner.
Yep, I remember that.
Not being friendly to anybody.
He was pretty grumpy that night, to tell you the truth.
I thought he wasn't feeling well. I didn't.
That could be. Listen, I don't know.
I thought maybe he didn't feel well. And then I went over and I asked him, how are you feeling? And he's okay. And I'm like, okay. So I just kind of let him be in his corner. And, my dad's wasn't like that. He was always a pretty outgoing person and, would talk with people and be kind of lively. That was how his personality was when I was growing up. So I didn't know. I thought maybe he just didn't feel well. And I didn't know if you had noticed how he was behaving.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I mean, especially since I helped to, do a lot of things to put the party together. I mean, it was more Mike, but I did a lot of helping with it. I wanted to make sure during the party, in addition to having fun and relaxing and talking with everybody, that things were going well. So especially people that were there that I knew were fairly important to you, it's just my nature, wanted to make sure everybody was having fun. So I would go over to people and be like, hey, how are you? Everything good? You need anything? And I remember trying to talk to him, and him giving me very little as far as response. It seemed as he sat in that kind of like a big couch chair for the longer he sat there, the more that he was annoyed that there was even a party going on to begin with. It seemed like he did not want to be there, and I don't know, maybe somebody forced him, but whatever.
I don't know. And it's like you would think this is, I would think that he would have been happy for me, that I had put all this time and energy, 4 years of my life towards getting my degree, despite, everything else, it was an accomplishment. And I felt like he just wasn't really happy for me at all.
No, he didn't seem happy at all.
No. So fast forward to a year ago, over a year ago, the last conversation I had with my parents, he brought up that night. And that was shocking to me, that he brought up something from, that was 2010. So 6 years later, he brought up my party as part of his gripes with me. And what he said, to quote, is, had I known that homosexual was going to be there, I would never have come.
Well, clearly, Mike and I misstepped, and we should have put on the invitation with a little star at the bottom, there will be homosexuals, just to make sure that, everybody is forewarned.
Because you weren't the only gay person there.
I was not.
There was at least one, if not two other gay people there that my dad didn't even know. One, the caterer, was a lesbian.
Yep. And she was awesome.
And she was amazing.
And I was dating a guy at that time, just for a few weeks, who I brought to your graduation party also.
That's right.
I won't say his name right now, it's unimportant. It was a long time ago. Still friends, but unimportant. But yeah, there were multiple gay people there. So we definitely should have written that on the invitation just to make sure people are forewarned.
Right, because people need to be warned if there are homosexuals roaming about freely.
He needs to be careful when he goes out in public. They might be anywhere. You never know.
They could be. You never know.
They could be anywhere. They could be
serving you coffee.
They could be.
They could be.
They could be serving you cake and pie and cookies at a bakery.
You never know.
You never know. They could be at
They might be your dry cleaner.
They're probably your dry cleaner. They're touching all your clothes. You should just burn all your clothes.
Oh, so stupid, really.
So stupid.
So stupid. I mean, that is, I was so blown away by that. I'm like, out of all the problems that you could have had with me and anything that I've said or done over the past 12 years or my whole life, that one night you bring up as an issue with me? I don't get it. And I said, Jason helped plan that party.
And we're good friends, and really close friends.
He's one of my, best friends. Yeah. And out of love for me, planned that party.
Yeah.
When he could have been having his own graduation party.
Yeah.
So
ridiculous.
Ridiculous. And it just shows me the small mindset of the witnesses and how limited their worldview and how they demonize people who are different and don't fit into the mold of what they believe is right. And they're not comfortable around non-witnesses. I mean, much less a gay person. But just in general, when I've seen many witnesses interacting with non-witnesses, there's just this wall of discomfort and keeping themselves separate. And that's the whole thing, though, of keeping yourself separate from the world. Oh, there go the doggies. He's got 2 really cute doggies, too.
They're great.
Yes. So, but, and that was the thing that I had to, as many of you, when you wake up, you start realizing that putting this wall between you and everybody else has only been hurting you in your life.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why would you shut everything down around you except specifically what you believe in and what you're part of? How do you grow from that? How do you expand yourself, your mindset, your view on the world without experiencing different people and different places and getting to know people from different walks of life? I don't get it.
Yeah, and getting to know, and so this is something that Mike and I have encouraged many of you who have recently woken up, and it's really challenging to think about building a new social network and you don't know where to start, and there's different ways to do that, which we've talked about in other videos. For me, going back to school and being exposed to different people from different walks of life and opening my mind and my heart to getting to know people and not judging them anymore based upon what the Jehovah's Witnesses believe, but based upon who they actually are and who they prove to be through their actions. And so I know it's a challenge for many of you that you don't know where to start to make friends. But I guess the thing that it starts with is just realizing that there are good people out there, that you're not going to be taken advantage of, that they're not just going to use and abuse you and then throw you away when they're done with you. That's what the witnesses want you to believe, and that's
totally false.
It's totally false.
I mean, there are people in the world who want to take advantage of anybody, and they come from all different walks of life.
Right.
And some of them are religious, of all different types of religions, and some of them are not. And some of them are men, and some are women, and some are gay, and some are straight, and none of that plays into if somebody is a deceitful type of person or someone trying to take advantage of someone. That's just because they're not nice people, not good people, and don't have their own set of morals that works well for being a friend.
Yeah.
I don't know a better way to say that. I mean,
It's
I know
true.
that wasn't that eloquent.
No, but that's so true because I'm not friends with any of the people that I was friends with growing up, and I'm not gonna sit here and talk about them and say that they were bad people and whatever, but I will say that I did not feel like very many of them were really there for me. And that if I stepped outside the bounds of the religion in any way, not anything directly to them, didn't, take advantage of them, wasn't, didn't lie to them, didn't do anything directly to them, but just because I don't believe in the religion and I don't believe it is the truth, then they no longer want anything to do with me. And I haven't done anything to them. I haven't done anything to my family. I've only said I don't believe in it and I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be a member of the religion, and that I see things about the religion that are harmful. And I feel a duty to speak out and warn people and tell them so that they don't, become a part of it. I mean, yeah, I am working against the religion, but I'm not working against my family and former friends.
No, you're not working against anybody who you care about and who cared about you. You're working against an organization that really caused you a lot of harm.
Yeah, and I am the least of the concern about, causing harm when there are thousands of children who have been and are being sexually abused, and it's being covered up.
Yeah.
It's being covered up. And that was the biggest factor for why we started making videos, because we feel like it needs to come out and they need to stop protecting pedophiles.
That's huge. And also, even though I admit I don't know a lot about the Jehovah's Witness background and all that, I recently saw a video, it was an animated video that was from a Jehovah's Witness propaganda website geared toward children, trying to tell them how it's wrong to be gay, and if you're gay, you can change your ways, and the Jehovah's Witness will help them. And that's really hurtful, and that's awful.
They compared it to not being able to take baggage onto a plane.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so you saw that. We haven't talked about that yet. I didn't know you'd seen that video.
I didn't know that you had seen it.
Yeah.
Sophia and Caleb video.
Yep.
Oh, I was so angry when I saw that video last summer. Well, and you haven't even seen this summer's convention. There was almost like a full-length feature film called Remember the Wife of Lot. It was a modern day storyline, and part of it was very homophobic, and so that made its way into the gay community. Their newsletters and articles and blogs and stuff too, speaking out against the anti-gay information coming out from that convention.
I think that the people who are doing that, who are towards the top, who are making the call on making these kind of videos, honestly, and I'm not trying to sling any mud, but I think that they realize exactly what they're doing. And for the people who are watching the videos, children who might be gay and might be afraid because of the witness community that they're in to tell anybody, once they see those videos, it really can cause them an immense amount of harm and an immense amount of pain. I myself, through growing up and living in a few different places and having some friends who were gay and were at different levels of understanding and accepting themselves for being gay, know from experiencing that with many of my gay friends and growing up and being in that community, how much it affects people. I knew kids when I was in, well, whatever grade, I can't remember, but when I was 12, 13, 14, who were hysterical that they didn't know what to do about being gay. They think that they were gay, but they really didn't want to be gay because their family was old school, which basically means religious. Not specifically witness, but I mean, a lot of these religions that try to, preach that they're about love and that they're about a community and all that are causing people so much harm.
Yeah, definitely. And, we know that there's statistically higher rates of suicide much higher among gay teens. And then to constantly be receiving these messages from the literature and from the conventions, from the videos now, that's become a huge part of their belief system, which I think is even worse, because when I was growing up, it was all written literature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one thing to read it, but to see it in a video, especially like the ones geared towards the children, wow, way more powerful at making you feel bad about yourself.
I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or any of that, but when you make a child feel like there's something wrong with them and it's something that is innate, that is part of them, what can they do about that? They're letting everybody down in their life. They want to change. They can't change. That's an internal struggle that can really be debilitating for some people. I know people who are not children, now that I'm an adult, who still suffer with that and have lost many relationships in their life because of being gay.
Well, since we were doing, our work with making videos, we've had many gay people, active Jehovah's Witnesses, who reached out to us and told us their stories in emails and in phone calls, and just the heartache that they've gone through, and being pulled into judicial meetings for not even for actually having a sexual act, but being attracted to a male, and being made to feel like complete dirt. And it's just, I hope that, there's one person in particular who I communicated with a few times, and I don't know what happened to him. He just fell off the radar. I don't know if he ever, whatever happened to him. But, I just tried to assure him that that there's nothing wrong with him, that he's, that there's nothing wrong with being gay, and that is who you are.
Yeah.
And
there's nothing wrong with being gay. If you are gay, if you are bisexual, whatever you are, it's okay, because that's something, that's who you are. It's part of you. It's not something that you should try to change. It's not something that anyone else should tell you is wrong or right or anything else. I'm not sitting here saying it's right. I'm not here, but I'm definitely here telling you nobody should tell you it's wrong. I'm just saying it is what it is. To me, it's like breathing. It's just part of who you are. It should just be a complete non-issue. It shouldn't even be something discussed. Someone's relationship with religion and the group of people who are above them in the religion, who are mentors for them, should not be telling them anything about who they are or are not attracted to. That's just ridiculous.
But the thing is with the witnesses is they have inserted themselves into every part of your life, including even a straight relationships and what is acceptable sexual practices and what is not. If there's a question about something, there's an article somewhere in one of the Watchtowers about it. It's incredible. So people don't even trust their own judgment. If they're like, is this right or wrong? Well, let me do the research, and they'll go to the Watchtower library and look at what the society has written. That's what the organizational heads is called. They call it the society. What the society has said about it, and okay, well, this is what the society wrote about it, so I guess this is how I have to feel about it now, no matter what it is. And they're inserted into every single part of your personal life. So it's
just
a
ridiculous.
high control cult. That's what it is.
It's absolutely a cult. I know from being good friends with you for so many years now how it was for you to just have a gay friend, and how it was for you to go to college, how it was for you to remain friends with me, how it was for you to do so many things that were not the specifics of what they wanted you to do. And I really can't imagine on top of that, if you yourself were somebody who was gay, how you would have been treated, how your family would have treated you, how your so-called witness friends would have treated you if you would have said to them, I'm gay. I don't even want to think of how that would have worked.
Yeah. You can't talk about that, that's for sure. You gotta keep that under wraps. But, so, now we're coming to the end of our video. I'm so glad that you guys got to meet Jason. I think I've probably mentioned him in other videos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think I did. But now that you've seen, my transition over the past 10 years, and especially over the past, I would say, year and a half, although we don't live near each other, but we talk. And what would you say that you've noticed the most?
About you?
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
Oh.
I mean, I know I've mentioned that to you before, but I'm really, really proud of you. When I first met you, I mean, of course, you were a great person, you were really nice, you were open to getting a new friend, you were very talented in school also. I know that's not a witness thing, but she was. And over the years, our friendship has gotten, more and more and more until we became really, really close. And over the years, I've also seen you get more and more of a voice, get more and more sure of who you really are, what you want out of life, what's okay and what's not okay for you, what's acceptable behavior for people around you. I've seen you become a much stronger human being, because to me, a strong human being is able to say, this is who I am. I'm not a bad person because of things that I do or don't believe in. I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not just to appease people in my life. I've seen you struggle, really struggle, with having to make the decision and come to terms with telling people in your life if you are or are not in fact a Jehovah's Witness, and if you do or don't believe in that. And I've seen you, even though of course was very emotional and all that, I've seen you come out really, really strong and much better for it.
Yeah.
I've seen you come out of it not just with Jehovah's Witnesses, but with other friends, being able to meet people, and instead of just allowing people to be shitty, sorry, I don't know if I can say the word shitty, crappy, you can edit that. I've seen you say, you know what, I'm not going to accept people in my life who don't treat me well. I'm not going to accept unacceptable behavior towards me. I only want people in my life who lift me up, who are genuinely happy for me, for the things I do and for who I am, people who respect me. I mean, I've seen you become a much stronger and more independent person, where you can really stand on your own and be comfortable in your own skin.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Being comfortable, yes. And you're right. Like, as a witness, we're taught to be humble, and, that we always have to accept our brothers and sisters. And, as a result, there's crappy people in the religion. Let's just face it. There's good people, there's nice people, but there's a lot of crappy people. And we just have to take it, pretty much. You just have to take it. And that is, like, the biggest thing for me. Like, yeah. I just am like, I am not going to have people in my life that don't build me up. No. And that don't want the best for me. And I've been able to find my voice. And that's the takeaway that me and Mike have talked about in other videos, about finding your own voice and, standing up for what you believe in, but living your own truth, and how important that is. And, so that you're not, like, I've said it before. When your mind is in dis-ease, it puts your body in dis-ease, which causes disease.
It's true.
Yeah, so, it's so important to, to really be able to find your own truth and find the people in your life that will support your values and standing up for what you believe in. So, thanks for doing the video.
Of course. I have never done a video before.
Oh, really? You did great.
Oh, thanks. But, of course, for you, definitely.
Oh, good. So I thought maybe this would be a good opportunity to see a little piece of Robin's history.
Yeah.
And, to get some great messages out of it, because Jason has many pearls of wisdom, which
Thanks.
I very much value our friendship. And,
I do too.
And always like to run things by you and see what your point of view is on them. Because he's very wise. He's very wise, my Padawan.
Well, sometimes we still surprise each other, even, being friends for 10 years with our views on things. And the nice thing about being friends with someone where there's genuinely no strings attached, you don't have to be of a certain religion or a certain sexual preference or a certain anything else, is that when you have a conversation with them about something, just because you might have a different viewpoint, it's not going to change your friendship.
Exactly. A great point.
Which actually makes the friendship stronger, I think.
Exactly. I know that if I don't agree with you on something, I can say it. And I know that we're still going to be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you were still a witness, and let's say I wasn't out of the closet or something and I was a witness, if I came out, then I would know if you wanted to still be a witness, we wouldn't be able to be friends. I mean,
exactly.
That's so stupid. So I'm just glad that we can be friends, have different views on things, and still always be friends.
Yep.
And that's largely in part because neither one of us is a witness.
No, it's solely because we're not.
Well, it's trying to be nice, but yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and until next time.
Thank you.
See you.